Okay, performance management F5 is the paper what we're going to look into. I mean, on the screen it shows chapter 2. What about chapter 1? So, chapter 1 is in your syllabus, it's the introduction one. It basically talks about revision to management accounting. So, we are starting with the paper performance management. We, we would be starting into the content, whatever is covered, but there is an emphasis about revising management accounting syllabus once. So, first we need to take up the revision of management accounting thoroughly and then do that. But since you've already done management accounting and all, as in whenever it requires us to refer back to that, maybe we'll put in a stress on that. You cannot just ignore management accounting at any given point of time. You have to remember all that content and then proceed further. It is not only connected to PM, MA, PM together get connected to APM, and then that's how the the progress would take place. So, introduction to management accounting is chapter 1, and chapter 2 starts with the information technology and systems. Information technology and system is the second chapter. So, we basically going to look into today's class. The first class is about information technologies and systems. After we understand the way technological development is taking place across the globe, every organization is gradually, slowly moving towards automation, digitization, all these things, adopting the latest technology, and to some extent, many um, job positions are also replaced with the technology. So entry level jobs, most of them, there are reports which say that in the coming days and years to come, we see that most of the entry level jobs would be taken over by um, systems, computers. No need for human beings to be employed in taking up that work, because machines can do that, systems can do that. So we see that there is an importance of we being aware of what is technology, how is technology ruling that corporate world is what has to be understood. But here in this PM paper, there is only a little content which is given about the technology. We need to learn about certain terms, then the terminology about technology and all that can be taken up. So the first topic what we have is information technologies and systems. We need to understand what's the meaning of data and information, then IT and systems, direct data capture. What is data? If we look into this term data means data is, in simple terms, it is collection of facts and figures. Data is collection of facts and figures. So from various sources, data is collected in any format, whether it is quantitative, qualitative, in any way, whether it is, if it is useful, if it is felt, it is useful from various sources. When all these things are collected, we call that to be as data. Data in itself may not be very useful. It has to be processed so that it can be made useful. So data, once it is processed, then that is called as information. So how do we differentiate between these two things, data and information? Is unprocessed facts and figures are called as data. But once they are processed, they would be called as information. So that's the basic difference between these two. Information is data that has been processed to make it useful. How can data be captured? Now, data is basically collection of all the facts and figures. They have to be captured. What are the ways in which data can be captured is what we will look into now. Data is input into computers and systems via a reader such as optical character recognition, optical mark recognition, magnetic ink character recognition, barcodes, magnetic strip cards, voice recognizers. The first one talks about there is a recognition, recognizing something, but that is a character. Character is the things which are there in the form of images. Anyway, the letters, alphabetical alphabets, numbers, and all are recognized by the systems. The system, they do recognize all that. Whatever is typed into the system, that can be that can be understood, that is captured, whatever is there. But there are certain things which are in the form of image, but they cannot be understood, they cannot be captured. So if there is an optical character recognition that identifies what the character is, and it will be taken up for processing. So our optical character recognition. Then we see optical mark recognition. Um, are you aware of what is OMR? Did you ever come across what is OMR? Concept of OMR? You might have written some competitive exam sometime or the other. When there is an exam and the exam is evaluated by way of systems, there is a sheet which is given called as OMR sheet. So there, huh, yes, you understand what is OMR sheet when you have when you go for this competitive exam. So there are certain spaces given in a circle format. Whatever is the mark which is there in any of those options, the boxes, it takes into consideration for evaluation. Okay, so the optical mark recognition identifies or understands the one where it is highlighted and it is taken for evaluation. So the competitive exams which are conducted, the students are provided with an OMR sheet, and the students are supposed to, they're not supposed to write their answers in A, B, C, D, select the answers and write that, but rather once the alternative is selected, that has to be circled in the space which is provided for each of these alternatives. So once they highlight on that, the system captures that and then takes into consideration for evaluation whether it is right or wrong or whatever is that. So that is optical mark recognition, OMR. Next one is magnetic ink character recognition. This is specifically for in case of checks which are signed, and to understand whatever is the details which are present on the checks. To read that, there is something called as magnetic ink character recognition. So with that device, it is possible to identify what are the things which are written on the check, and then they are taken into consideration for evaluation or recognition and then processing of that. Sorry, processing of that particular check. Barcodes, we understand what are barcodes. All the of late, all the products which are purchased in malls and supermarket stores and all, the products have a code which is in the form of bars. So there is a unique barcode which is printed on that. So the device which is present there recognizes that barcode and then takes it up for processing the bill for the customer. So that is called as barcodes. Then magnetic strip cards, when credit card, debit cards and are used. So there is a magnetic strip card. So when the card is swiped against the machine, so it recognizes um, what are the details about those cards and takes it up for processing the transaction. So that is magnetic strip cards. Voice recognizer, all of you of late are so used to that. Okay, so people have become even so used to giving instructions with the help of speaking into the device about whatever they want instead of typing what they require, what they are searching for, instead of typing that. they choose to speak on the speaker, and the speaker identifies the voice, understands whatever is the set of instruction, the commands, and then the processing is taken up accordingly, and whatever is that which a user is searching for or would like to understand or get a solution for that can get that, because the instructions are understood by way of voice recognizer. So these are the ways in which the data can be captured into the system. Then the data, once it is processed, it has to be processed. Processed is the data has to be either way. It can be arranged in easy, simple way to understand. All of you must have done this particular thing about if the data is large, then you simplify, condense it, present it in simple tables, sometimes graphical presentation, some other ways in which the analysis can be taken up. So in the process of converting this data into information, there are certain things like certain tools which are used, so that once it is converted into information, it makes it gives certain insights. There are certain things which can be drawn out of that information. Some understanding can be drawn out of that, something some meaning can be drawn out of that information, and that can be applied for decision making in the organization. It becomes useful for decision making in the organization. So once it is converted or processed into information, that information should have certain attributes to be called as um, good qualities of information. There should be certain attributes which should be seen in this information when it is processed from unprocessed state, that is in the form of data. When it is converted, processed into information, that should have these attributes. The first one talks about it should be complete. So in the process of that, nothing should be omitted. Everything should be completely presented here. Even if it is a summarized format, it should not be ignoring any set of data or anything which should be omitted, but rather everything should be included. It should be complete. So that's the first attribute. The second one talks about it should be relevant, appropriate for that particular purpose. So information which is used for decision making. So when it is considered for decision making, another attribute what it should have is it should be relevant or appropriate for whatever is the purpose they're looking at. Let's say that if they are analyzing about the pattern of sales over a period of time, they're looking at the trend of sales. So the information related to sales would be most appropriate. Something about investment, if it is provided, it is completely irrelevant. So whatever is the purpose for which they are considering this information, this should be relevant for that particular purpose, relevant or appropriate for that particular purpose. Then timely, when it is required, when the information is required, it should be provided at that time. Instead, if it is provided after a while, maybe it is of absolutely no use. Somebody is looking at forecasting for quarter two. So quarter two, if they have to take up the forecasting, they have to take up the planning for forecasting. The required information should be available with them before quarter two begins, because planning takes place for the future period. Before Q2 begins, quarter two begins, the insight should be provided, the analysis should be provided, the processed data, which is in the form of information, should be provided. Once information is there, yes, they can take up the processing, they can take it up for planning for the second quarter, quarter two. Quarter two planning can be taken up. If the time period, if they enter into quarter two and the information is provided, it is absolutely of no use, because the period has already started. They would not be requiring this piece of information that it was wanted for the purpose of planning for quarter two. So whenever it is required at that point of time, it has to be provided. If the time exceeds, or the duration or the time period, if it lapses, it becomes irrelevant. It is not relevant. It is not timely providing of the information. Timeliness is missing there. So it should be relevant during that time period of time. That time period. If it is during relevant during that period of time, then it makes some sense. It is useful. Otherwise, if the time lapses and then it is provided, it is absolutely of no use. So the good quality of information, one important point is it is timeliness. Then objective or accurate. Objectivity talks about the truthfulness, the honesty, the accuracy. So whatever is the information which is provided should be true, should be um, correct. It should be the right set of information. It should not have any inaccurate or dishonest thing, or something which is false should not be included. So it should be objective or accurate. Truthfulness, the genuinity of that data, the information which is included should be truthful to, it should not be anything based on certain false opinions or lies, but it should be true. Then understandable is one very important thing. When information is provided, see, not everybody in the organization are well versed with the accounting and financial terms. Many do not understand. Though people are there in the top positions also, they may not have a good hold on understanding the information. So this has to be presented in a way that it becomes easy to understand. See, a big volume of numbers are provided, do not make any sense, but then that is condensed, that is tabulated, that is presented in a graphical format or some way, pictorial presentation, some way, it is much easier to understand. Relative comparative note, it is presented, it is easy to understand. If it is only in the form of figures, sometimes some certain statistical tools are used to analyze that. Some management accounting tools are used, like ratio analysis, comparative analysis. They may not be very easy to interpret for some of them in the organization. Yes, people from accounting and finance background, they can understand the information which is provided in the numerical format or in any other format, but those people who are there in the organization who are not very good at understanding the facts and figures or the accounting information, for them it should be presented in a way that it becomes understandable. So whoever are the stakeholders, when the information is provided to them, it should be in such a way that it becomes understandable, it becomes easy to understand that. Okay, see, you people watch cricket match, isn't it? So from time to time we see that the commentator keeps talking about the live telecast, whatever is going on. He keeps on a constant basis, keeps talking about that. People are so involved in watching that, so sometimes they do not listen to what the commentator is saying. But in a small fraction of second, they would be able to understand what actually happened, because the graphs presented, or how did they perform, or then it talks about, on a comparative note, the previous team, how did they perform, how did the previous team play in their innings, how is the present team performing, how did how did the um, how did they score marks, or where did they, I mean, how, where did the ball go that runs were gathered, things like that. It one image which comes on the screen, a very quick understanding about what is going on through the match is understood by the viewers. So we see that there are certain tools which make the information much easy to understandable. So depending on who are the stakeholders there, what is their level of understanding, the information should be presented accordingly. Okay. Some of them, if they are well versed with the accounting terminology, they are good in finance, it may not be required to present it in those pictorial formats. Maybe they can take it up some analysis, certain tools like ratio analysis and some other types of things, and then advanced analysis tools also can be used to present that, and then they can draw some conclusions or analysis, further analysis can be taken up, some um, something can be understood out of that. So depending on the stakeholders, the information should be presented in such a way that it becomes understandable. Next we see it should be significant. Just because everything has to be presented, it should be complete, it should be um, true, that is accurate, it should be objective. It doesn't mean that every bit and piece of that is presented in that. Only that which is significant, which is important to be shown as information, has to be taken up for um, providing it as information. Minute details may not be needed. In a while, in a short while, we're going to look at what are the levels of management, different management levels, the hierarchy of management. So at that time, we understand that some of them, they do not require, the top management does not require everything in detail. They are provided with summary that is sufficient. So only that which is important, only that which is significant, if it is provided, that is sufficient. So significant. Then communicated. So communicated, it should be communicated. The information should be in such way that it is communicated to the stakeholders. Um, in the coming days, we will see that what are, who are the stakeholders, and then what information has to be communicated. So to all the stakeholders, whatever is that they are seeking to get from the organization, it should be communicated to them. So that is one important uh, attribute, one important characteristic of information, that it is um, in a way easy to communicate it to others. Then the information should be confidence inspiring. Confidence inspiring. It should be another attribute of information to be called as um, information to be called as good information. Fine. Okay, we've talked about capturing the data, processing that into information. But from where do they capture? Capturing the data is important, but the sources of capturing this data, there are internal sources, there are external sources. So from any of these sources, the information can be captured. First thing is, if these are internal information sources, we see that these sources are, the first one is the accounting system, payroll system, strategic planning system. These systems help in capturing the data. What is an accounting system? So accounting system talks about a system of accounting the transactions of the business on a day-to-day basis. So chronologically, every transaction which takes place is accounted in the books of accounts. So there is a lot of information which is available from the accounting system. So uh, earlier things were accounted in the accounting registers. So people had to refer to those uh, registers and then take out the information. But then now we see that there are computers and then software, accounting softwares which are available, which take care of recording this accounting information. So there's so much of information which can be drawn out of that. Every Detail about the business transactions can be taken from the accounting system because they account all those transactions which are measurable in terms of money. Monetary values, monetary transactions which take place are accounted in the books of accounts. Second, we see payroll system. Payroll system, HR department, human resource department, has a track of or has an account of all the employees working in the organization. So their details are entered into the payroll system. So who are the employees and what cadre are they appointed? What is their pay package? What are the other incentives and other rewards which they are entitled to receive on performing well? Their training schedules, their I mean until retirement, whatever they are entitled to, or other plans or other things which are associated with employees in the organization. All of that is present in the payroll system. So any details about the employees, their pay packages, their um, the structure, the details about how what is their breakup of salary, things like that. So every detail about the employees can be taken from payroll system. Then when there is planning taken up for the organization, so information is present in the planning system also. So strategic planning system. So there are internal information sources from which information can be gathered. There are external sources of information also from government sources. Government also from time to time publishes certain information related to the economy. There are certain things which are um, published, which is considered as authentic. That information is published. So government sources, there are many government sources, um, certain publications which come out. Um, so those things can be taken into consideration. So those are government sources. Then we see the information about the customers and suppliers. So when they have a system of keeping a track about the suppliers and the customers, so they keep a track of these things, and that can be a source of information, like understanding what are the requirements of the customers, what are their taste preferences, um, what is the buying pattern of the customers or the suppliers, what materials or what inventory can be provided by the suppliers, the terms and conditions of that. So there are certain things uh, about these two stakeholders which are available or which are kept a track of, and that can act as a source of information. Trade associations have some information to be provided. Media, of course, has a lot of information which can be taken into consideration for processing that. Then we see what is IT and information system. IT, information technology, information systems, IS. So what are these terms is what we have to understand. See, um, the question paper pattern, is this in paper exempted for you, or you have to write the exams for PM? Please respond. I have asked you a question. Do you have PM as an exempted paper? Okay, exempted. Okay, done. So exempted paper, what should be our focus? So everything what we are learning in this particular section, I will tell you from time to time what is important and what would continue into the future. So this paper gets connected to APM in future. That is not exempted, so that's an advanced level paper, advanced performance management. So all the content what we are learning in this particular section, that is the information and technology, data information technology, this particular section, whatever we are learning, all that would be continued in APM paper also. We have to learn all these things. See, how would anyway, you have to also write your college level exam. So I do not know what the pattern of the college level exam for PM. But the focus about what would be there in APM is this terminology, all that will repeat there. And assuming the student has thoroughly studied that in PM, almost every case, because that's a case study pattern of the pattern of examinations. So assuming the student is thorough with these terms, at least one aspect of the organization is considering for automation, processing, or the benefit of that. Somebody likes to go for that, or someone does not, and then you as an expert in that particular area, you have to give your opinion or critically comment about that. So anything what we are going to learn is not a concept which you will reproduce in the examination and write, but rather with this kind of knowledge you will make an attempt to answer the case study questions. So you need to understand these concepts thoroughly and remember it. It is not just with the PM or this semester that you will be done with that. No, it will continue into the future. Even when you join your organizations also, this is what which would prevail there, because every organization now, we do not see organizations working um, for most of the processes manually. Most of that work is computerized. So therefore, it is important that we understand these things. The first term is about information technology. What does it mean by IT? It describes any equipment concerned with capture, storage, transmission, and presentation of information. IT is basically hardware. So it is concerned with any equipment devices. So how do we understand what is IT? IT is the hardware, any equipment that is concerned with how to capture the information, then store the information. Where is it stored? It is stored in the system, but the capacity of the systems may be limited. Therefore, they also have to invest in storage devices, servers. So those equipment help in storing the data, storage, transmitting from one system to another system or anywhere. The transmission, how would the data be transmitted? That is also a part of IT, or presentation of information. So this is all a part of information technology that provides the infrastructure to run the information systems. Then what is information systems? It refers to the provision and management of information to support the running of the organization. So IS supports the running of the organization. It refers to the provision and management of information. Here it is capturing, storing, transmitting, and presentation of information is IT. IS talks about management of this information so that it can support the running of the organization. So, how does it happen? So, IS is both hardware and software. IT is hardware which is used to capture, store, transmit all that information. IS goes a step ahead. It is both the software that is required, that is supported, and also the hardware. Both of them together, we call that to be as information system. It says IS can help an organization gain competitive advantage if it links the organization to customers or suppliers. So it should be able to build a relationship with that. So there are softwares which maintain a relationship with the suppliers and the customers. See, um, now when we, I mean, in the cities, we see that There are supermarket stores, malls. When you go in for purchasing the products from that particular store, of late we see almost every store and mall has this concept that they ask you to give your phone number so that they would feed into their system, stating that there are certain rewards which are associated, certain points which can be collected, and after a while, once they get accumulated, you can redeem these reward points or something, um, some points which get collected. Once you redeem that, maybe you can purchase some product at a discount or free of cost. Some product is available by utilizing those things. Um, those are the things about the stores and malls, what they do. So the customer gets attracted to that part of it and then gives the phone number. Every time when you make a purchase in that particular showroom or store, then you're also asked to give your phone number. So they say that we're accumulating the points, but rather this helps in understanding the buying pattern of the customer. How frequently is the customer purchasing? What are his tastes and preferences? What are the products the customer likes to purchase? See, based on that, they can also make certain suggestions about what varieties are available, other things. Any purchasing app of late, we see that certain things which are prompted or which pop up and then say that this is available. Last time when there was an attempt to purchase that, it was not available, but now it is available. Something or the other, all the time they keep a relationship, they build a relationship with the customer, they keep a track of what the customer is purchasing, and then understand that. So is should be in a position to link the organization to customers and also suppliers. So what material, what quality, what price, all those details also can be noted down. Of course, of late we have the e-commerce platforms also, which provide the details about all the suppliers and whatever they are providing, of course. But if there is a system which can get them connected to the keep them connected to the supplier, it becomes easy to place orders with the supplier as and when there is a requirement. So I should be able to build a relationship with the customers and the suppliers. The next point says that it creates effective integration. Integration is consolidating, bringing together various aspects. That is integration. So if it can create effective integration of the use of information in a value adding process. The information is available from various sources. That is what we have looked into already. Internal sources are there, external sources are there. So once this information is captured, if it is possible to integrate all that, let's say from internal sources, we see various departments are there. Accounting system is one thing. Then we see payroll system is another thing. In detail, if detailed information has to be captured, so department wise it can be collected. From stores department it can be collected, finance department, HR department, um, like that, purchasing department, like that, various departments. Now when the information is collected, each of them are available in a different format. They are not in a uniform pattern, in a uniform manner. So if information system can integrate them, it becomes, I mean, when it is consolidated, which is in different formats, if that can be synchronized, it can be made into a uniform pattern, it becomes easy to understand that, draw some insights out of that. So information system should also be able to integrate integrate for the use of information in a value adding process. Then we see enables the organization to develop, produce, market, and deliver new products and services based on information. It should also be able to take up these things, that is develop, produce, market, and deliver new products and services. because information is captured, it is stored, it is retrievable, it can be used so that they can experiment on these things. Then it gives senior management information to help develop and implement strategy. So that is also another thing. We're going to look into what are the levels of management. So senior management takes decisions for the organization. So for them, if information is provided, they would be able to take better decisions. Then there is a comparison about what are costs of an IS and what are the benefits of an IS. It's not only about here in this particular situation about information technology that we are discussing, but in any case, in any system, any model, any new thing which has to be installed in an organization, it has to be implemented in an organization. Always the cost benefit analysis has to be taken up. The cost benefit analysis is an important aspect. What is the cost of installing that particular system in an organization versus what benefits can be derived out of that system? If benefits exceed, it is better to go for that. If benefits do not exceed the cost, at the if the benefits do not exceed the cost, it's better not to go for installation of that particular system. It's not only here in case of information system, but anything, any new thing, new model, uh, if it has to be installed, implemented in an organization, whether it is useful. For example, let's say, of course, information system, computerization, automation, technology, there are many benefits out of that, but they may not be useful for every organization. There are costs which are involved. Let's look into what are the costs. There are initial setting up of information system, initial costs which are incurred. We see design costs, development costs, then research development cost, purchase cost of new hardware, cost of testing and implementation of new system, training cost. All these involve costs initially to set up information system in an organization. Then to run that operating cost of labor time to run the system, replacement parts, cost of IT support. All these things are required, and these costs would be compared with what benefits can be achieved. See, there are benefits, certain benefits. We are going to discuss them. In case if the organization size is small, if it is a simple small organization, not with many complex activities, a very simple organization, see, the level of activity is also at a small scale. It is not they're not operating at a large scale that they can recover all their costs. So for them, see, we've discussed about what are the costs which are required initially, and also on a constant basis to run those systems. Costs are needed to be incurred. If that's the case, because they do not have much activity, do not have much activity that they can generate revenue, and this revenue will be able to recover that. For them, it is not suitable. But for an organization where they have complex activities, they operate on a large scale, the source of revenue is also would be at a very high level. Then the benefits what they derive, they will be able to recover all the costs. Then they should think about it. So it is not always beneficial for every organization that they should go in for a new system. What benefits can be derived out of information system? Let's look into that. It enhances the efficiency and capacity. When the work is done, taken up manually, we understand there are certain limitations with the use of human, effort. The human beings, when they work, they cannot work 24 by 7. There is a limitation. They can only work for certain hours during a day. Then they become tired, there's fatigue, there is I mean, they require to take breaks very often. But whereas in case of systems, they can be put to use for longer hours. The speed of human beings is much less as compared to the machines. So the efficiency is enhanced because they can be put to use continuously for long hours, and without any break, no need for any um, breaks in between, and the speed at which they perform also is much higher, um, as compared to the human beings. The productivity of the human beings and the productivity of the machines, when they are compared, machines perform at greater speeds, so the volume which is produced is much higher than the human being. So usage of information system enhances efficiency and the capacity at which they operate. Okay, then there is better quality of information, better access to information. So um, the systems can process the processing part of it is there. It is properly stored. It is easy to retrieve. It can be easily used for any purpose. See, when information is stored in the system, it can be copied, paste easily, instantly. It can be saved. It can be uh, the form can be changed. The presentation can be changed very quickly. If the information is otherwise stored in books, a manual registers and all, using that information and drawing certain insights out of that is a difficult task. So better quality of information, better access to information. Improved sharing of information. It can be copy, paste, transmitted, sent instantly. Things can go instantly. Better decision making, better quality of information access, and better customer service also can be provided because of use of information system. Now, if they are operating on a large scale, if the number of transactions which they have to take up is large in number, um, many customers to whom they have to cater, or many stakeholders to whom they have to cater to that, and send the information or process the information of many stakeholders and all, then in that case it is very very useful, beneficial to have an information system installed in an organization. Let's say the organization is a very small, very few stakeholders are there. So if they go in for automation, it takes a longer period of time for them to recover the cost which is spent on this information system. It's not advisable. Therefore, it becomes important that we understand about what are the costs of information system and what are the benefits of information system. If the benefits exceed the cost, then um, it is useful to go ahead and then install the system in an organization. Otherwise, it's better that they continue manually. Okay. Then the next concept is about what are the systems architecture or network. Please be sure about what these terms are. Of course, you are aware of that because schooling also you learn that there is nothing new that. This also will be repeated in APM paper. We know what is LAN. LANs. Computers are connected in LAN, that is local area network, in a small region. They are connected. Each system is connected to the other ones to share data, and they're connected with the devices. So it becomes easy to transfer the data, share the data from one system to another. That is LAN. Wide area network, the area is wide, and yet they are connected with their systems. So that's wide area network. A network should facilitate the transfer of information between different parts of the business. So it could be as small as a single office, or the offices can be scattered across different locations, but it still should be able to help them share the information. Share the information. Other terms, what is an intranet? What is an extranet? Internet, Wi-Fi. Intranet is an internal network used to share information. So the firewall surrounding an intranet fends off unauthorized access from outside the organization. So only within the organization, when they are connected to the systems, that then it is possible for them to transmit that, the share the information, share whatever is needed so that they can perform their duty. So that is intranet. Outside stakeholders are not allowed to have an access to that. So they are restricted from having an access to this intranet. Extranet also includes external stakeholders like the customers and the suppliers, and the other external entities are also uh, connected to the network. Then that is called as an extranet, a collaborative network which uses internet technology to join organizations. Example, business links to link businesses with their suppliers, customers, and all. So when they are connected with that, then that is called as an extranet. Intranet, only the internal people in the organization are connected. Extranet also allows the external stakeholders to be connected. We understand what is internet. Internet is a global system of interconnected networks carrying a vast array of information and resources. Then wireless and handheld technology. Wi-Fi facilitates the mobile use of laptops, laptop computers, and handheld devices, mobile phones, laptops, other devices which are not connected through a cable, through a wire, but yet there is a facility to be connected. That is wireless and handheld technology. Any doubts until now? 21 students. Any doubts? What are the controls which are used? So, IS controls, what are the controls? General, application, software, and network. So, we're going to look into what control measures are taken. Why there is the need for control? Control to have a control in a generic way, general manner, general controls. What are they? See, when systems are installed in an organization, not everyone can access the systems. Not everyone can use, because depending on their skill set and the nature of work, there is there's no necessity that everybody should be given an access. When there is a restriction to the access, we call that as general controls. Wherever systems are placed in an organization, they are separated from other operations. So people who are working in other operations, they generally do not enter into those premises or those locations where systems are placed. They do not have an access to that. The first and foremost thing. See, unknowingly, unintentionally, also some harm or damage can be caused to the system if people who are not required to enter those places are allowed to have an access to that. For that reason, there is a control. See, general controls. First one, general controls. Personal. They are not allowed to enter into that, those areas. So they have to provide um, uh, the valid authenticity or authentic proof or valid proof that they are the ones who are supposed to be present there until they provide that they are not given an access to that. So logical access, access logging, these things talk about to enter into that premises also they have to provide a proof. We see biometrics is one way. Cards can be swiped. So there are certain cards or something. Once they are, when they swipe that, they are given an access to enter into the system. Of late, we see that happening with every organization. Um, they have their employees. To them, the ID is provided to them to be present there in that physical premises. They have to use their card to enter into the organization. That is restricting the access to everyone to be present there in that premises. So once they enter into that, then the systems also um, they would be able to use that system with a password. When there is a ID and a password which is given, so access to have an access to the system, access logging also, there are IDs and passwords which are set by providing those details only. Systems also will allow them to use and take up their day-to-day work on the systems. Apart from that, physical controls, hardware security, recovery plans, and backup. Physical controls, who would, how would the environment in the locations where the systems are placed? That is, we see that air conditioning is provided wherever systems are placed or the places where these devices are stored. Generally, the temperature would be much cooler, so air conditioning facility would be there. Then we see that fire extinguishers would be there. If in case any physical damage happens, also they would be able to control it. Okay, so physical controls. Then we see hardware security using the um, authorized ones and then renewing the licenses, all those things regarding the software part of it, hardware security, um, genuine equipments are purchased and then whatever are the requirements which are needed to be taken. Hardware security. Then the information which is stored, captured, stored, processed, all that we've discussed. So that is present there in the system or internal server. It is stored. From time to time, they retrieve that and then use it. But let's say that if some damage happens to the systems are damaged, or the physical location itself becomes unaccessible, in that case, all that which is stored in the system has to be stored elsewhere also. So, in a um, generally, I mean, these are backups which are taken. So, the backup is stored somewhere else. The usual procedure is the backups are stored in remotely located places. Even if there is no access to that particular place, like because of an earthquake or a flood or some way, if they are prevented from being present there in the physical location also, work should continue as usual. For that reason, from time to time, so how frequently, that again depends from organization to organization. So they take a backup of all whatever they have processed, that is stored there. So in times of need, that can be used and then they can resume back. Of course, we of late, so the present crisis is a best example what we can talk about. Um, the storing now is not mostly on the internal servers and the physical places. But we have a concept called as cloud computing. So everything is stored on the cloud. So what is the best advantage of storing it on the cloud is, see, the work can be continued, the processing will take place real time, easy to retrieve, share with many things, and remotely also it can be accessed. Now, offices are not operating from their regular premises, official office premises, but the work is carried on from their respective homes, the employees' homes. The work is resumed back. Why? Because it is all stored on the cloud. So from the cloud, they are able to have an access, retrieve that, and then process it. So that is what is happening. So before this cloud computing, this was taken up that in situations where they would not be able to um, have an access to the physical location, the information should be stored in a remote location so that they can go back to their regular work and resume back to the work instantly. So across the world, this concept is taken up about a recovery plan. Every organization will have their own plan in terms of how would they recover in case where they are restricted from entering into those physical premises. So recovery plans and backups. In terms of application controls, application applying or that particular system and using that system, um, processing the information, then what application controls can be used. The forms which are used to input the data or process that. So every form should have a number allotted to that printed. So every form should be pre-numbered. So in future, if they want to verify, refer back to access that, that can be identified by a number which is pre-allotted to that, pre-numbered forms. Every form would have a number. Then the documents, the access to the documents should not be provided to everyone. Um, Only those that require an access to the documents to perform their duties. Only such people should be given provided access to the documents. So they should be allowed to look into that the information in that particular document. So all the documents are not provided to everyone in the organization. They are not accessible by everyone in the organization. Only those that need these documents to carry on with their work, then to them these documents are provided. So document authorization. Then control totals and checking of output. So right at the time when the um, data is inputted into the system, at that time also, um, after a while, after a set of entries are made, the transactions are entered. So it keeps checking up after a particular number of transactions. So control totals. So there is a way in which there is a control checkup which takes place, control totaling after every, let's say for after every 100 entries which are entered into or inputted into the system. So there is a check which takes place. So that is control totals. Then after the output is generated also, there is a checking of what is the output, is it in the right manner, checking of the output. So that is when they are applying application controls. So at the time of giving an access to people, general controls. At the time of processing, application controls. Then we see software and network controls. Software and network controls, using reputable dealers, purchasing their hardware software from reputable dealers, retaining the original disk, and renewing their licenses from time to time, checking their licenses and renewing them. Using reputable dealers, retaining original disk, checking licenses, and renewing them from time to time. What are network controls? See, we see that extranet, internet, all of them enable them to be connected with other stakeholders. Apart from the internal stakeholders, they are also connected to the external stakeholders. There is a network which connects them to many people. In this process, there may be some damage caused to the information, caused to the information technology, information system, both of them. Damage can be caused to the hardware, damage can be caused to the software also. Because some intruders, they enter into the system through the network, they can cause some damage by way of stealing the information, um, altering the information, manipulating that, altering, modifying, all that, uh, wherein they would not be able to use the information, or some way the information is destroyed. There are people who try to be a part of the this network, and then they can cause. So if some intruder is trying to enter the systems to cause some damage, they can be firewalls which can be built into the system. Okay, it could be built in into the system about the firewall. Firewall does not allow any unauthorized intruder to enter into the system to cause some damage. Then they can have a flow of um, the work, the nature of work. There can be flow charting, how it should move from one place to another place. So that can be decided about the flow charting. Data encryption. Encryption talks about even the data, the data is inputted into the system. Then this input is processed and the output is generated. Of course, we understand that all whatever is entered into the system gets converted into um, binary form, coded form. Then the processing takes place. After the processing takes place, it is again decoded, and the output is generated. So when the output is generated, at that time, um, only I mean, the access to the output can be provided only if they provide a security key. A security key, if it is provided, then they will be able to have an access to the output which is generated. That is encryption, data encryption. To have an access to the output which is generated, which is processed and generated, that can be accessed only by providing a security key. Of course, we also have types of security keys like a private key, a public key. Only one key is provided, then output can be accessed. A combination of two keys, a private key and a public key, is provided. So that's more secure. Then only the output can be accessed. So that whole process is called as encryption. So by way of encryption, there can be some control. Virus protection, so that um, virus cannot damage whatever is there in the system, the software and the hardware also sometimes. So they would be protected. So there are certain inbuilt things, or inbuilt softwares are there, or some external softwares also have to be loaded into the system, so that there is no virus which can cause damage to the system. So virus protection. Then we see information systems and data analytics. Information system and data analytics, the third chapter. Chapter 2, any doubts? Chapter 2, whatever we discussed. Chapter 3 is not a very big topic, a small one only. We can finish that in a short time. Chapter 3 talks about information systems and data analytics. First, we need to understand what are the planning levels, the levels in the hierarchy of an organization. What are the systems which are useful to these planning levels? That is what we're going to look into that. Then we have the concept of big data. That's what we have here in chapter 2, a small chapter. What are the planning levels? See, we see that there are three different levels in an organization. The hierarchy uh, is present in a pyramid form. See, at bottom, the bottom we see it is broad. There are many people who are there who are in the implementation of the plans. Then we see the middle level. As it goes up, we see that it becomes pointed, and then at the pinnacle at the top, we see the top management. The CEO would be there at the pinnacle at the top. Then the first level at the top is the top level management. Then the middle, we have the middle level management. Then at the low level, it is the low level or the operational level management. What is the role of each of them? The top level management is also called as the strategic level. Strategic level, they are involved in planning for the entire organization. So their planning involves the entire organization about what are the products and services they would be producing, which markets would they be selling these products or services, uh, the organization as a whole, what would it do is what is planned by the strategic level. So it says that information. So what information do they require? So we are talking about what are the planning levels and what type of information they require, and what are the systems which are helpful for these three levels of management. So that is what we're going to look into. The first one is the strategic level. Strategic level, the top level, which plans for the entire organization as a whole. Um, so when they are involved in planning for the entire organization, the information what they seek, it is predominantly environmental. So the external factors are very important. The economy in which they are present, the markets, the geographical locations, and if they take up entering into a particular market or things like that. So external aspects would be focused a lot. So where would the organization launch their products or services? How would they take it up? What impact of external factors will have on their organization? All of that is taken care by the strategic level. They consider these aspects. Then the information which they are looking at is, it's not uh, precise, accurate, but imprecise and speculative. They are because they would be looking into the long term forecasting. Very precisely anticipating the long term is impossible. It is technically not possible. The future itself is uncertain. What would happen tomorrow is not known to us. So estimating what would happen over a period of time, over a long period of time, is definitely not possible. But in spite of that, if they can have some idea about what would be the scenario in the long term and take a planning for the long term, is the role of the strategic level. They plan for the organization. 5 years down the line, where would the organization, I mean, where would the top management want to see their organization placed? Okay, what markets they would want to capture? How would they want to explore various markets and try out producing various products. Precisely, can it be? Is it possible for them to do that? No. Therefore, they seek information that is imprecise and speculative in nature. Their forecasting is for a long period of time, long-term forecasting. Then main output targets and plans, ad hoc control system. As and when whatever system of control they require, they keep on adding that or modifying that. So it is ad hoc control system. That is the role of strategic planning, planning for the organization as a whole. Management control, or we also call it as tactical level. Okay? Middle level, management control, middle level, tactical level. These are the terms which are used. What is their role? They are involved in planning for the organization from within. See, the goal is set by the top level management. The strategic management takes up the planning for the organization, looks at a long term period of time, what are the goals and objectives. These are decided by the top management. Now, those plans have to be achieved when the people in the organization work. So, how would they take up the work? How would they work together so that it is possible for them to achieve those targets? That is what is looked at. So that is the uh, role of the middle level management, or the planning taken up by the middle level management. The management control, information concerned with efficiency and effective use of resources in the whole organization. To achieve those targets, how would they take up the work? So in this process, how to allocate the resources and use the resources. So that would be planned by the middle level. Then information in volume and financial terms may involve responsibility centers. That is dividing them. Of course, responsibility centers is a concept we are going to learn after a while. We would be learning, but this at this point of time, let's not elaborate on what is responsibility center. So it may involve responsibility centers. That is, they have to understand about how to decentralize the work, divide them into units and subunits and departments, divisions, and all. So that is also one area where they have to work. Includes measures of productivity, budget performance, labor, and capacity utilization. So involves every aspect about the quality, quantity, productivity, the delivery, how would they implement their plans, budget performance, labor, capacity utilization, all these aspects are planned by the middle level management. Whatever are the plans which are decided by the management at the middle level, they have to be implemented by the operational level, people at the operational level or at the low level, operational level. Their focus will be on implementing the work which is assigned to them. They are experts in their respective. Somebody is working with audit section, so their focus is only on audit part of it. They are not experts, overall experts. They do not have a overall view of how the activities are carried on, but their focus is quite limited only to one particular area of the organization, or one particular area of the work. So their focus is on that. So they require information only related to that part of it. Immediately to implement that work, to take up that work and implement whatever is the plan. In the short run, whatever is needed, such information is required by people at the operational level. And that narrow area, in detail information is what they require. So every aspect of audit, or somebody working in tax department, so every aspect of tax related issues they require. So in detail information is required by them. They their focus is limited, but in that limited area, everything which is relevant to that particular thing is needed by them. Very detailed, maybe in terms of quantity, rates, and times rather than finance. So when there are three different levels in the hierarchy of an organization, each playing a different role, and they seek different types of information. So there are three different systems, information systems which are available for the use of these levels of management. The first one is Executive Information System, EIS, Executive Information System. What are they up to? They are involved in the planning for the entire organization. If that's the case, it says that Executive Information System is useful for the senior executives. It's user friendly, and user friendly, both internal and external information is provided. But as we've discussed, they only seek summary. They're not more concerned about very detailed precise information. That is all not needed. They require only the summary of it, so that has to be provided. But later on, if they want in detail, they want to elaborate on that, to drill down on that summary, there should be a provision also to be provided to them, option to drill down to obtain detail. Okay, that should be there. The middle level management is involved in planning for the organization from within. So um, what is their role? Their role is to plan for the people in the organization, decide on the efficiency, effectiveness of resources which are to be allocated, resource allocation. Resources in the whole organization, they decide on various aspects in the organization. So the information what they seek is something which is helpful in making decisions, aids management decisions. Um, so the system which is useful for them is called as decision support system. When they are taking decisions, when they are planning for the organization and taking decisions, a system which should support them is called as decision support system. System is able to predict possible consequences of possible scenarios. Managers then use judgment to make decisions. So they require in detail information so that decisions can be taken. The third one is an expert system. What is an expert system? They are the ones who are involved in implementation. The plans which are decided by the middle level, the management level, the implementation will be taken up by the people at the operational level. So they are also experts in their specific field. Somebody working in tax takes care only of the tax. Somebody working in receivable section is only involved in processing the receivables. Somebody in payables, tax, audit, so many things. So they seek in detail information. So the systems which are useful to them are called as expert systems. Hold a specialist knowledge, example, law, taxation, etc. Non-experts can utilize for advice and assistance in decision making. So the expert systems provide this specialized knowledge. There are databases wherein the information is collected and mm, stored. It is integrated and stored, synchronized and stored for the use of these experts or people at the operational level. So any detail about their expert field is provided by the expert system. So they can implement that and take up the or implement the plans according to what is decided by the other levels of management. These are the different levels of IS systems. Different IS systems available for different levels of management. Sorry. Apart from these things, in general, we have certain other information systems, other systems. First, we have it as MIS, Management Information System, ERPS, CRM. These are the other three systems. Let's discuss what they are. The first one is called as Management Information System, MIS. MIS, an information system which is useful for the management to take decisions. So it converts, MIS converts internal and external data into useful information so that this information is communicated to the managers at all levels of functions to enable them to make timely and effective decisions so that they can take decisions for planning, directing, and controlling activities. So MIS is a system, management information system which is useful for the management. What is the role of management? Management's role is to plan, take decisions regarding planning, implementation, processing, all of them. Um, they take decisions. So useful for decision making when information is provided. That information will be helpful for the management to take decisions. This information is provided by MIS. MIS provides the information to the management so that they can take decisions. Simple terms, if you can remember. Next, we see ERPS, Enterprise Resource Planning System. The keyword what we have to remember here in case of ERPS is integration. It integrates the data from all operations within the organization. So each department has their own set of information available. They have collected, accounted, processed, all that. Each department will have their own set of information. But this has to be integrated, collected and integrate, consolidate and store it at one place. So we have ERPS, Enterprise Resource Planning System, which integrates the data from various sources of the organization, departments of the organization. For example, operations, sales and marketing, HR and purchasing, all of them into one single system. So what happens? So it becomes easy to retrieve the data. Somebody requires data about the staff. They have to approach the HR department, collect that. Then immediately if they want something related to inventory, so they would approach the source department. Then have the set of information. Then if they require something about asset purchasing, assets which they own, so they have to approach the asset purchasing department or finance department or something like that. So approaching each department, acquiring the information is a time consuming process. But if the system already collects that and integrates that, it is time saving. It is easy to have an access. So when the information is all available at a particular place, then it becomes easy to take decisions quickly, better decision making. So it's helpful in decision making. But the key point here is about the integration. The information is integrated, integrates the data from various sources. Next, we see CRM, Customer Relationship Management. The third system is customer relationship management, maintaining a relationship with the management. Sometime back, we have discussed about how they maintain a relationship with the customer by way of having them connected to their system. They maintain a relationship with them. There are four stages in the customer life cycle: selecting, capturing, that is attracting them with the product. So selecting, making them as their customers, acquisition. It is not a one time purchase. They are satisfied. Now the concept is to have a relationship marketing. The concept of the business concerns is, it is not product oriented, but it is more to do with having a relationship with the customer. So it's not only one time purchase. They want them to come back again and again. Therefore, their focus is on building a relationship with the customer, sometimes even taking up the customizations from the customers, catering to the requirements of the customers to ensure that they are retained. They come back again and again. So retention is what their focus is, to see that. After that, they would want to extend into other areas, other markets. Maybe they want the customers to purchase other products in their product line. They they want to try out other things. So that is about extension. IT can play a pivotal role in improving all aspects of CRM. So the system allows them to understand the buying pattern, behavior of the customer, their tastes and preferences, the frequency at which they purchase. All these aspects are understood by um, the. I mean, it is possible by for the management to understand that, because the system has these details and they are provided. So that is CRM. Any doubts until now? So the last topic in this chapter is big data. If you have any doubts, please get them clarified. Of course, only today's class it would be long theoretical class. I know, but from tomorrow onwards, we would be taking up some numerical questions also, because the accounting techniques and the accounting part of it comes into picture. So we will also try out certain questions from the exam kit, either a case study we can try, or some objective type questions or small questions. So here and there we'll fit into one or two questions, and then work out on how to see how the numericals can be answered. That we will take it up from tomorrow's class onwards. Abhinavu has entered. He was there sometime back also. Okay. The next topic is big data. Big data, wherein large volume of data which is processed is called as big data. Large volume of data which is big in size, when it is taken up for processing to get better results. That is big data processing. What are the characteristics of big data? Large volume of data, big data. We see volume, velocity, variety. There is actually one more characteristic also. You can also make a note of that. That's called as veracity. See, earlier days, it was not possible to process large volume of data. The systems were not um, capable, or they were not sufficient enough to take up the processing of large volume of data. See, when the population is not in human terms, the data which is large, the variables which are more in number, the count of that is more in number, it was not possible to take up all of them and take it up for processing. Then what was done? The alternative what was available was take a sample out of that, put it to test, process that, and then after that the result is applied to the entire data, entire the large volume of data. The sample which is selected is not a true representation of the entire data, the entire population. It is not true representation. In that case, the result is not very dependable. It is not authentic, or it is not the right thing. So there could be some kind of a bias involved in that at the time of selecting the sample. Randomly it can be selected, some way it can be selected. So it was not possible. But with this concept of big data, the large volume of data to support that with the um, new softwares available, like Hadoop and all, these are softwares which are available. With those softwares, large volume of data can be processed. So the characteristics of big data is the volume of data is large in size. Large volume of data can be processed. Now systems are able to process data for the last 100 years, or we see that a very long period of time. So we have many analysis now available very easily. Um, See, people are now, of course, the present crisis, we see what impact does this particular virus, this pandemic has on various countries, and how many people are affected and all. This is spread across the world, but instantly the information is available. There is a comparative analysis over the last 100 years, how many such attacks were there, certain diseases were there, and what happened to the people, how many deaths took place, when was the last time there was a pandemic, what impact did it have, people, how many of them got affected during various other things during the last century. One century is taken and it is analyzed from the beginning of the last century until now, what happened. All that's a time taking thing. Analyzing such a long period of time, analyzing so many variables, parameters, and then coming out with the result is a time taking process. But that is also offline. We have every day some analysis is given by someone or the other, and considering a large volume of data, long period of time, greater portion of the area, um, such analysis are also available of late. We see that to analyze such a great volume of data, it is now possible with the help of big data. Big data and the softwares which support that. So the volume of data is big in size. The speed at which they process this, the velocity, the speed at which the data is processed is also quite high. Very quickly, at great speed, the data can be processed. Data which is captured is of different varieties, quantitative, qualitative, every format of data, published, primary, secondary, unpublished, anything, whatever is captured, all of them are considered for analyzing. So the data is variety of data. Then we see veracity. Veracity is the genuinity, genuine data, only genuine, authentic data is considered. So big data also, of course, variety of data when we talk about when unpublished sources are there, from that also data is collected. Um, But then it is also considered that the data which is used is a genuine one. It is true data. That also is another aspect which is veracity. What are the benefits of using big data? The benefits of using big data, the information is more up to date than that from traditional sources. Traditional sources, see, published data doesn't happen on every day-to-day basis. At the at the end of each time interval, that thing happens. For example, census counting happens once in every 10 years. Certain things are published by um, government authorities or agencies, maybe once in every year. So some of them can go for once in every 5 years, things like that. So it is not that every department, every organization, um, they come out with sharing the information on a continuous basis. They publish it at the end of each time interval. But then if the analysis has to be taken up, considering the current period also. So they can depend on the unpublished source also. So the information is more up to date than that from traditional sources. Earlier, it was only the information available until that period. Let's say 1 year back, until that only information is available. So it will not allow them to include anything of the current year. But big data also considers the unpublished, anywhere if it is available, it can be taken, it can be collected. Otherwise, they themselves from primary source collect that and then consider it for analysis. So it is more up to date than that from traditional sources. Then more timely information means organization can make better and quicker decisions. So speed is much faster. Velocity, that is one attribute of big data. So if there are timely analysis, a quicker analysis available, better decisions can be taken up. Customers' changing needs are better understood. Budget stress testing becomes easier as there are more indicators of potential stress. Okay. Um, Various aspects are considered for analysis. So in that case, it says that budget stress testing becomes easier as there are more indicators of potential stress. So um, they will be able to understand many more details with the help of analysis of big data. Um, that is possible. What are the problems in using big data? The first one is availability of skills. Not everybody can process this. People with those specialized skills about able to use these specific softwares only only then it can be put to use. Okay, so the availability of skills is one important aspect. So that's a problem in using big data. Security of data. The data has to be secured, um, because everything is put to use. There is a problem of a misuse of data. So security of data is one important aspect. Then data has to be protected because large volume of data is put to use. This data also, the confidentiality part of it, data protection also has to be taken care of it, because everything is considered for processing that. So it has to be considered. That data protection part of it also has to be considered. So with this, we come to the end of both in everything related to IT related, information systems, information technology, every concept, every term regarding that. In PM, this is the only place where we would be discussing, and then this will not be repeated. But then all of them get repeated again in APM. Of course, we would be learning some more terms in APM, some more advanced concepts about it. See, we see that in the day-to-day situations, we understand that um, organizations are going for using this technology, information systems. So the cases basically highlight about they using that, what is the benefit out of that, how would it impact the organization. All those aspects will be highlighted there. So unless and until you are aware of what these things are, you will not be able to elaborate your answer on those in those areas. So your opinion, your decision, that is dependent on your sound knowledge of what these topics are. Chapter one, I said management accounting. Management accounting, you cannot afford to forget any bit of management accounting. If even if it is an exempted paper, also that is an exempted paper, definitely no doubt about it. But every bit of it, somewhere or the other, it touches the later part of it. Even after you join the organization, also management accounting knowledge is very very important for you to take up the work in the organization, the tools which are used. So that's very important to understand, learn, remember about management accounting, plus the IT part of it, IT and IS part of uh, the the syllabus part. You have to remember that. Any doubts you want to see? Only very few when less time is available, that I can. It's not possible for me to start another topic. 7 8 minutes are there. That's it. So any doubts you can get it clarified. The next topic is we have specialist cost and management accounting techniques. So some of the techniques we are going to learn, like ABC is one important thing. So maybe tomorrow class I will touch upon this, and then simple questions we will touch on that, and then at the end of it, if we are still comfortable in terms of covering the entire concepts, the syllabus, I'll make you also work out a few cases from the exam kit. We'll depend on exam kit only for the numerical questions. We'll take it up from there and then um, solve in the class also. One more important. Any doubts first? Uh, we'll talk about that. Any doubts anywhere? Anything you want me to elaborate or explain again? Anything? Can I have a representative here in this particular group who can tell me about the absentees? Anyone to come forward? Because I have no clue on who are the students, the number, the present or absent or anything. I want one of you to please volunteer and come forward and be. If there is already a class rep, then there is no issue. Please mention it here.
I'm the class representative.
Niranjana. Okay. Niranjana, please tell me who's absent in today's class.
One is Avinash. No, Avinash is there. Sorry, Avinash is there. Ma'am, 1 minute. I'll just check and tell you.
Yeah, yeah. Which semester are you in right now?
Second.
Niranjana, you do your work. Others will answer. You please. Um, Second semester. Okay. When are your others? Please answer. She's doing some work. No. When are your exams? Semester exams? No idea. No idea when your exams are going to be conducted. I only asked Niranjana not to speak, not the others. Others, please stop. She is checking out on who's present, who's absent. I asked her to do the work. Others, please answer me. Okay, our second sem started on. Okay. May 3rd it started. So not immediately, but then please put an effort to find out what's the question paper pattern and inform me in the days to come, so that I can also focus on how to prepare you for the internal exam as well. Because this is a training for the ACCA pattern of the exam. But if I can have an idea about what is the pattern of the question paper, if you can speak to your internal faculty and keep me posted with that, that will be nice.
Ma'am, Harshad and Rahila are absent.
Okay, then let's end the class here. Tomorrow again we'll meet, and then tomorrow onwards we will also work out numerical questions. Come prepared with the be prepared there. Sit with the systems, with in front of the systems with the pen and notebook and all.